3 weeks ago, I started Final Fantasy VII for the very first time. And a great deal of you said, well, you should keep on going because 2 hours in is nowhere near enough. So, welcome to part 2 of my very first Final Fantasy VII playthrough. So in part 1, we got up to the church, we fell through the roof, we landed on a bed of flowers, and I'd met Aeris for the very first time, apart from when we bumped into her after the end of the first mission. I want to get back into it. I have been thinking about the game in the meantime, and I actually have felt the pull to want to play it again. And it's not just the story, it's not just the music, it's the characters, it's the fighting, it's how much it changes. It really does keep you on the edge of your seat. So I'm really excited for what's to come. So in this video, I'm going to play another couple of hours or so of Final Fantasy VII. I'm going to give you my authentic and honest reactions to scenes and moments in the game. And also we're going to take a look at Cloud, and we're going to discuss where his design came from and where his name came from. Stick around. Oh my goodness. If first impressions counted, what I just did with Aeris would probably illustrate me as Cloud, as an absolute idiot. So we're on the run from Reno. I think his name's Reno. I did notice as we were running away, they said we've got to get the Ancient. And I don't really know what the Ancient is. I'm assuming that's Aeris. I find myself walking around on these like beams up above Aeris, who's trapped on the ground. And there's all these barrels everywhere and you can knock them over. And the thing is, I'm knocking them over into the completely wrong places. And Aeris is down there looking up, what are you doing? I thought that was pretty funny. I do love that there's a bit of a puzzle element there where we could have avoided some battles, but I took your advice. Everyone who said don't flee from battles, that counts towards your XP. I'm not only making sure I fight every battle, but I'm running around in circles wherever I go just to get a few extra in to maybe make it a little bit easier later on. Anyways, let's get back into it. Cloud's iconic spiky blonde hair and large buster sword were designed by Tetsuya Nomura. His look was meant to be a contrast with his nemesis Sephiroth, who had long silver hair and more sleek appearance. Early concepts of Cloud's character made him more of a cool and composed kind of person, but Nomura and scenario writer Kazushi Nojima shifted him into a more complex character with a confident but yet awkward style that created depth and made him a much more compelling character. Alright, so we're now in Aeris's home. We've met Aeris's mother. And geez, there's so much to talk about just in that little bit. I kind of like how the game is made to play on the hearts, to play on the romance inside of each one of us as kids and as adults. Aeris says to Cloud, can you be my bodyguard? And if you can be, maybe we can go on a date. Like, that's her offered form of payment. And she does it in like the sweetest way. It's just, Aeris is just really just sweet, like just positive and sweet and good character. What really makes me laugh is when Cloud got to her house. Like the moment he got there, he's like, yeah, I gotta go to Sector 7 to find Tifa. Naturally, Aeris is like, who's Tifa? And Cloud's like, it's a friend of mine. And Aeris is like, girlfriend? And Cloud's like, nah. The love triangle is getting set up. I can see it. And I can see the contrast. I know from the limited experience I've had with Tifa that she's a badass. She's like, takes care of herself. Totally like different contrasting characters where Aeris is sort of more delicate, more gentle, more sweet, more kind-hearted. I gotta keep playing, obviously. Music is fantastic. Enemy design just continues to evolve. You don't even know. When the screen swirls around, you have no idea what you're gonna be fighting, how many of them there's gonna be. I really am enjoying it. I'm repeating myself over and over again here now, but yeah, the game kicks ass. Aeris's mum obviously knows of Aeris's nature. She tells Cloud, you have to leave during the night. Don't tell Aeris, just leave. Don't want her going with you. I don't want anything like that to happen. And the first time I tried to sneak out, Aeris was straight onto it. She's like, hey, go back to bed. See you tomorrow. And then the next time I managed to sneak out. I made my way back through the little section of town that she's in. I think it's Sector 5. And bang, she's there waiting for us. Like, she's there. She beats us to this like opening. No sneaking past Aeris. My goodness, she's determined. And we share a moment. We're sitting on top of like an abandoned playground. Aeris and Cloud sort of have a discussion. There's sort of a moment there, and out of nowhere, this carriage or something comes around the corner, towed by a chocobo. So we got to see a chocobo for the first time. Comes around the corner, and Tifa's on the back of it, and she's dressed really differently, and Cloud is instantly worried. This is unlike Tifa, and we go into Wall Market of all places to try and figure out how to get her back. And oh my goodness, I spent so long trying to figure out what I was supposed to do there, because where do I start? We find out Tifa is with the Don in a building far up north, but we also have to solve some little problems for different people around there to try and get, can't believe this, to try and get a dress and a wig and some cologne and all sorts of things so Cloud can pass as a beautiful woman and sneak in and rescue Tifa. And wow, that I did not see that coming. The game went from being, fairly serious with like charming moments to this side quest that kind of feels out of place, but then at the same time doesn't feel out of place at all. Like, it's a good thing. And I think if you've studied storytelling, or if you've studied movies that have a comedic edge, sometimes I'll contrast something pretty serious happening with a bit of comedy beforehand, puts you in a more vulnerable state for that serious thing to really hit you.
Cloud's name and his appearance are not a coincidence. They're actually tied to an atmospheric symbolism, Cloud representing ambiguity and change. His design features blues and greys to evoke the sky and stormy weather. The Buster Sword is one epic, iconic weapon. It was conceptualized to be iconic at a glance. It was originally exaggerated in size to push the limits of the PlayStation's graphics and stand out from other JRPG weapons.
I got the dress, and there was a nightclub sort of in the southeast section of the map. I went into, and I was like, I don't want to do anything in there just yet, because I want to finish these other side missions just in case it's a point of no return. I got the members card from some random guy. I went back out, went and finished the other things, came back and found out that I only had one shot of getting in there. I have no idea what's in there. I'm hoping it's nothing really critical to use in the game later on. But got my dress, not only tricked security, but security thought we were pretty hot. And then we made our way into this place. Oh, we found Tifa, by the way. She was down in a dungeon with the scariest looking scenario you can think of. She's down there. She explained that she was somewhat undercover, trying to reach the right person. The Don had information she needed to get from him, but there was a problem. The Don wanted to pick from one of three women, which is a ritual for this guy. And of course, who's the third woman? Cloud. Anyways, we come before the Don, and the Don is not what I expected. I was thinking, slick back, black hair and a suit. This guy is like a pretty beefy guy with a yellow mohawk. Of all the girls he picks Aeris. And we all get separated. Cloud still in his dress, still with his makeup and his alluring cologne on, gets stuck in a room with five guys who just swarm on him like zombies. I'm running around the room trying to figure out what the heck do I even do here. I'm running into them hoping it initiates a battle. I was kind of hoping we get to see fight model Cloud with his massive Buster Sword in full dress with his wig on and everything, but unfortunately he spun around, revealed he's a dude all along. We successfully reunited with Aeris and Tifa. We confronted the Don. He spilled some of the beans and then pulled a lever and sent us down a chute into what looks like sewers. That's where I'm up to now. So I'm going to keep playing and get back to you after something interesting happens.
We mentioned the color scheme of Cloud's uniform earlier, but his soldier uniform is militaristic with fantasy influences. It drew inspiration from European medieval armor mixed with a futuristic industrial fashion, which absolutely suits the setting of this game. Cloud was a playable character in Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 3DS and Wii U, and also in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. bringing the Buster Sword and limit breaks into the series. He also appears in Kingdom Hearts with a darker, more brooding redesign, including a version where his winged look references Vincent Valentine and Sephiroth. A spin-off game known as Dissidia Final Fantasy has Cloud as the core fighter in the series. It was a Final Fantasy fighting game franchise where he is portrayed with various costumes, including his original Advent Children style outfit and his Kingdom Hearts version as well. Cloud also appears in a game called Final Fantasy Tactics as a secret playable character. Not only is he in the game, but also his moves, including his limit breaks. And you probably already know this, but Cloud is the protagonist of Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, which is a CGI movie sequel to the original game. He's also appeared in other media like Last Order Final Fantasy VII and a whole heap of promotional shorts.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I just experienced probably the first big emotional moment in the game. But before I get to that, let me just go back and just talk about the Don for a second. I don't think I mentioned before that the Don sort of spilled the beans that Shinra were planning on destroying the plate that was holding up. I didn't really understand how Midgar was laid out. They just said a plate that's going to destroy Sector 7. We got shown this in a cutscene as well earlier on in the game where Shinra himself was saying, this is going to happen and we're going to pin it on Avalanche. Ha ha ha, what an awesome plan. We fought through the sewers, encountered some pretty cool enemies down there, found the steel material, which is great. And let me just say really quickly that I'm now reaching a point in the game where Cloud has unlocked his second limit break. It's getting to a point where there's an element of resource management and power allocation in the squad that you need to keep in mind. So I am really enjoying picking out who has which materia, because Cloud being the character that has the biggest health bar and the biggest attack, I wanted him to be basically an offensive and a cover kind of character. So he covers for, at this point, Tifa and Aeris, while Tifa is more of the healer of the group, and she also has the steal ability. I've assigned it to her, and I've tried it. I ran around the sewers 1,000 times in circles trying to steal something from floating seahorses and jellyfish and ghosts and whatever else was down there. We fought our way out of the sewers. We did some creative rearranging with some trains up on the train line and made it back to the slums. In Sector 7, we found Wedge on the ground. Biggs and Wedge are dead and Jesse's dead, or I think they're dead. They're laying out on the stairwell of the pillar, and we go our way up the pillar all the way up to the top where we find Barrett is there with his minigun defending the control panel. It was a bit of an unusual scene, I've got to be honest, because Reno shows up on a helicopter. He just jumps onto the platform. We don't do really anything to stop him. He walks up to the control panel, he hits a button, and he's like, well, there we go. Nothing you can do now. This place is going to get destroyed. See ya. We have this epic fight with Reno, and we whittle his health down, I guess, far enough to trigger an animation where he just gets on the helicopter and leaves. So he basically flees the battle, and then Sector 7 gets destroyed. Cloud and Tifa and Barrett jump on a cable and swing to safety. I didn't realize that Midgar was kind of like a pizza floating in the air, and Sector 7 was one of these slices of pizza, and it just sort of fell. And so many people have obviously lost their lives, and it actually emotionally hit me. Wow. So Tseng had shown up prior to us escaping with Aeris on a helicopter, and he had said, look, we were tasked with hunting down an ancient, and we've got her. And Aeris says to Tifa, don't worry, she's okay. And I think that's in reference to the girl that was at Tifa's bar. So I think she's okay. I think Aeris actually got her to safety. But Barrett was just, after we swung to safety, just an absolute mess, losing his mind. Because he's knowing that so many people in Sector 7 are dead. And he knows Biggs and Wedge and Jesse are most certainly dead. But this little girl, they're wondering whether she is. And Tifa said, look, Aeris said that she's safe, so I think she's safe. And then Aeris was kidnapped and taken away on the helicopter. And that's where we're up to. I'm 4.5 hours in, game time wise. I think that's where we're going to end it for today's episode, because that is such a profound moment in the game. I'm going to take a little bit of time to digest it. Now, If you want to continue seeing me playing, please leave a comment down below. Drop a comment about your memories and about how you reacted to the moments that I've described in the game and what you thought of them, because sharing this experience is honestly one of the coolest things ever. Anyways, thank you for watching. Stick around for part 3, it'll be up soon. I'll catch you later. Bye.